Hello and welcome back to Bible Wits Bible Corner. Today we're going to finish up Acts chapter 9. I'm going to read verses 36 through 43, starting with the English Standard Version. Now there was in Joppa a disciple named Tabitha, which translated means Dorcas. She was full of good works and acts of charity. In those days she became ill and died, and when they had washed her, they laid her in an upper room. Since Lydda was near Joppa, the disciples, hearing that Peter was there, sent 2 men to him, urging him, "Please come to us without delay." So Peter rose and went with them. And when he arrived, they took him to the upper room. All of the widows stood beside him, weeping and showing tunics and other garments that Dorcas made while she was with them. But Peter put them all outside, knelt down and prayed, and turning to the body, he said, "Tabitha, arise." And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up, and he gave her his hand and raised her up. Then, calling the saints and the widows, he presented her alive. And it became known throughout all of Joppa, and many believed in the Lord. And he stayed in Joppa for many days with one Simon, a tanner. New Century Version. In the city of Joppa, there was a follower named Tabitha, whose Greek name was Dorcas. She was always doing good deeds and kind acts. While Peter was in Lydda, Tabitha became sick and died. Her body was washed and put in a room upstairs. Since Lydda is near Joppa, the followers in Joppa heard that Peter was in Lydda. They sent 2 messengers to Peter. They begged him, "Hurry, please come to us." So Peter got ready and went with them. When he arrived, they took him to the upstairs room where all the widows stood around Peter, crying. They showed him the shirts and the coats that Tabitha had made when she was still alive. Peter sent everyone out of the room and kneeled and prayed. Then he turned to the body and said, "Tabitha, stand up." She opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. He gave her his hand and helped her up. Then he called all the saints and the widows into the room and showed them that Tabitha was alive. People everywhere in Joppa learned about this, and many believed in the Lord. Peter stayed in Joppa for many days with a man named Simon, who was a tanner. Okay, so here we have Peter raising someone from the dead. So this goes back to all the gifts and the wondrous works that Jesus was telling the disciples that he would be able to give to them to help the church continue to grow. Now, the one thing that I do want to point out with this is Peter did not want to make this a spectacle. In other words, he didn't want a huge audience. Everyone that was around that room and that building, they knew that she was dead. Peter did not want a huge audience to say, "Hey, look at me, look at what I am doing." He wanted it to be a bit of a private deal so that everyone could see that it was God that raised her from the dead. Now, we don't get miracles like that today. Those went away when all of the apostles and those that were directly trained by the apostles had passed. However, we still get a lot of wondrous signs today. God has put in the minds of many lots of great medical advancements, and we can see a lot of great medical achievements because of it. So, the big thing I want to point out with all of this with today's medical achievements and advancements, with Peter raising Tabitha from the dead, is it does need to strictly be God that gets the glory, not people. God needs to get the glory at all times. So, I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful, God-centered day. Bye.